Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for attending this webinar on account schedules. Just a few things to start with. All attendees will be on mute and will remain for the whole webinar. Please use the question box if you have any questions related to the topic, and all questions will be answered after the demo. If we do run out of time, or if the question requires a longer answer, then we'll answer those questions offline after the webinar. Use the chat box for any questions related to the actual webinar. So for example, if you can't hear the audio or if the presenter is going too fast. And please note that a link to view the webinar recording will be sent to all attendees after the demo. Okay, so this is the 6th in a series of the Top 5 Things webinars. These are a small amount of key points to focus on about Microsoft Dynamics Nav. We do have the whole series that you can sign up for, and we'll be sending out emails to register for these webinars, and I'll show you a list of them at the end too. So my name is Karen. I'll be facilitating the demo today. I am an account manager here at T-Vision. My background is 17 years of software account management experience working for ERP companies. Ian's going to be doing the demo today. He's a support consultant here at T-Vision, and he's been working at T-Vision for about 1.5 years and been using NAV since 2000. Okay, so we chose account schedules as this is a very useful way of gaining insight into your financial data. However, it's not that well known. Whilst you might have an overview of them in your training, many people forget about using them in their day-to-day work. Account schedules analyzes figures in GL accounts and compares general ledger entries with general ledger budget entries. The results can also be displayed in your homepage, for example, cash flow chart. So here's 5 things that we at T-Vision believe are the best to introduce using account schedules in NAV. So first of all, what are they? Why are they useful? What templates are currently available within NAV? How do you customize them or create them yourself? And how should you decide which method of reporting to use? Obviously, there are reports within NAV, there's third-party solutions, and there's account schedules. So which one's most appropriate for your business? Okay, so before the actual demo, I'd like to launch a poll just quickly to understand how you're using account schedules. So if you wouldn't mind putting in your results, that'd be brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so it looks like the results of a poll is some people use them, they know what they're doing, some use standard ones, but a good majority don't use them at all at the moment. Okay, so if you just wouldn't mind holding on just 1 second, we're just going to change over to the demo. Okay, that's great. So we're now going to go over to the demo. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Karen. First thing up, what are account schedules? Account schedules, basically they're a way of looking at your general ledger. You can look at entries within your general ledger. You can look at budget entries that have been posted in your general ledger. They also understand dimensions, so transactions that have been posted with dimensions. You can view those in account schedules as well. I'm using a 2018 database to view this demo, so just quickly, this is the chart of accounts that I'm going to be working from. It's a standard chart of accounts that comes with the Kronos database. All the balance sheet entries up here at the top, and as we scroll down, we start coming to the income and expense accounts. And this is what we're going to base our demo reports on. Now, I'm logged in as the accounting manager. When I log in as accounting manager, I have a nice little shortcut button that gets me to account schedules. If you're not logged in as an accounting manager, you can always go up to the search box, type in account schedules, and it will take you to the same place. So if we have a look, immediately we see these are all the account schedules that already exist on the system. These come as standard with a Kronos install. You can open any of them to see how they work and to see how they've been created, and you can edit them and make them look the way you want. I'm going to open one. Let's do the income statement. If I go to Edit Account Schedule, I'll ignore the warning. We can see how this account schedule has been set up. It's quite a busy looking page, but it's relatively simple. Each row has a unique identifier. We give it a description. We say what we're going to show on this row. So on these first accounts, it says posting account. So we're going to show values from our general ledger, and here we put in a filter to say which accounts do we want to show. You can put in a single account or you can put in multiple. Then at the end we put in a formula, and there I've said everything from P1 to P8. So those unique identifiers, it's just going to add them up and put that in the total income row. And we do the same thing going down. There's these descriptions that are on here. You can type those in by hand. You can take the defaults that the system has given you. You can change them. What do I want to show on each row? So I'm showing the net change in the GL account. And what do I want to show? I can show the net amount. I can show debits and credits. I can flip around the signs, so positive becomes negative, negative becomes positive. And I can choose when I want to show the rows. I get a few interesting options here. I can always show them, only show them when they're not zero, show them when they're positive or negative. So I get a bit of flexibility on how I present my information. And then some formatting, put it in bold, italics, underline. Skip to a new page. That only works if you actually print it out. And I can filter based on some of my dimensions, the two global and dimensions 3 and 4. I can put some filters in, and there's a double underline that I can put at the end for grand totals. So just looking at this, this is how it's all set up. I can close that and go to overview, and we can see what it does with results. So I'm looking at the income statement. That's the one that I selected. I'm looking at it by year. I've chosen 2019. I can click and go back and see all of 2018 instead. And I'm looking at the net change layout. So it's giving me a column just for the net change. So there's those rows P1 to P8, and it's brought through the values in the general ledger accounts. And on the total, it's added those up and it's put in the total for us. We can scroll to the bottom, and there's another formula at the bottom that gives me the net income. This is a default view of net change. We can always change how we want to look at this. We can add more columns but leave the rows the same. So one of the defaults that come with the system, we're looking at net change. We can look at change versus budget. So let's select that one and see what it does. As soon as I click off the field, you can see my column headings have changed. Let's just choose the 2018 budget. And I'm seeing the net change in those accounts for 2018, working exactly the same way as it was. But now the budgets have been entered against those same accounts side by side. We've calculated a variance and a little formula to calculate a percentage as well. We'll have a look at how we create column layouts just now, and we can see the grand totals down at the bottom. We budgeted 78, we got 156, so that's about 100% variance. So we can see that everything works. The rows have stayed the same, even though I did change the column layout, so I can choose different column layouts. It's always going to have the same rows. Let's just have a look at another one. And we've got this year compared to last year. Let's have a look at that one. Click off the field. And my column headings have changed. I'm looking at, let's change this to 2019. So in the first column, this is 2019's numbers. And in this column, this is 2018's numbers with a variance and a percentage difference between the two. We've only got 1 month for 2019. That's why it's a little number compared to the whole of 2018. But you can see that you keep looking at the same set of accounts, but you just change the way that you're presenting the information. These are pretty easy to create your own. You can take these standards and you can modify them, but I'm going to show you how to create one from scratch. So let's create a new one. We give it a code or a name, and we'll call this one TVT COA. I'm going to show you the entire chart of accounts. We'll give it a name, Demo COA, and we choose a default column layout to use. And remember, once we're looking at it, we can change the column layout as we want. So let's go to Edit Account Schedule and see what's in there. And it's giving me a nice blank page. I can manually start adding lines here if I wanted to. Nav's quite nice. It gives us a shortcut key to do this. So let's use the Insert GL Accounts. And I want to bring the entire chart of accounts. So I'm going to highlight everything and say OK. As soon as I click OK, it populates my account schedule and it's brought through everything that was in my chart of accounts in the same order with the same formatting. But these descriptions, perhaps they're a little bit vague. You could change them if you wanted to. For each row, it's telling us what it's bringing, and let's change the name of this one just to demonstrate that we can give it a slightly different name. And we can see it's bringing through all these posting accounts, and we can close this and let's have a see what it actually looks like. That took us less than a minute to create. And here's the results of what we've created. So it's brought through all of those descriptions. You can see the one that I changed. I'll change the year to 2018. There's much more information in there. And it's bringing through the values that are in those relevant accounts. And let's change the view and look at it against budget just for fun. And as soon as I click off, again, I'm looking at my entire chart of accounts versus budget. Doesn't mean too much until we come down to the income and expense accounts. And immediately I can see for all my income and expenses, how much did I spend and what was budgeted, what's the variance. This is a nice view, but it's very detailed. Perhaps I want to present at board level and they're not so interested in the nitty-gritty of all these individual posting accounts. They might be more interested in just looking at the totals for more of an executive overview. So let's go and change this one. I'm going to edit the account schedule we've created. I'm going to delete all of these rows. So I'll just hit delete. Yep. And once again, I'm going to use the insert tool. But this time, I'm not going to select everything. I'm going to put a filter on these listed accounts that I'm seeing. So I need to change this. I want to look at the account types. So select account types. And I only want to show the ones that are an end total. So as you can see, I can choose to include the headings, begin totals, totals, or posting accounts. I've just chosen the end ones. Let me highlight everything. And say OK. And we've got the same chart of accounts we were looking at previously, but now we've taken out all of those minor details. But we've just got the totals. We can see which accounts it's going to be pulling from on our chart of accounts. Let's have a look at that in overview mode. And there it is, the same information again, but presented more in a summary form of 2018. Those are the same totals we were looking at. And now this is something that I could present at a higher level without all those intricate details. We've got some formulas in calculate totals, and that's come straight from our chart of accounts. And again, you can change the column layout, look at it in a slightly different way. On this system, we do have dimensions posted against our accounts. So instead of looking at these, and maybe there isn't one that has the department dimensions that we want to look at, so we could create our own. Then we would look at the same chart of accounts in summary form, but we would have column headings for all the departments that we have. It's pretty easy to create something like that. So let's create a new column layout, and we'll give it a name and a description. And once we've got that, we can click on Edit the column layout setup. Again, it gives us a blank screen, and we can choose what we want. So each row gets a unique number, and there's our 2 global dimensions. We're interested in department, so we've got 3 departments here: 1 for admin, 1 for production, and we've got another one for sales. So we put all 3 of those rows on. We give them a nice description, something better than ADM. Row number 2, that's production. And row number 3 is for sales. And we can put in a total at the end. So let's add another row, we'll call it total. And this time it's not a net change column, this is a formula. And over in the formula bar, I want everything from 1 to 3. So those unique rows 1 to 3, we're going to add them up and show that in the total. That's OK, make sure it's highlighted, and we'll choose that column layout. And now we're looking, again, the same account schedule, but this time we're looking at it by dimension. So I can see from my admin team, production team, sales team, the expenses, and the total expenses. And again, that was pretty quick. We don't have to show all of the departments. We can just show 1 or 2 of them if I want to give a report like this to department heads, so they could track their expenditure going forward, and I could create a separate one for each department to look at. A nice total one for that board level or the accounting managers to look at to do their reports. Let's create another one, but this time I'm going to show you that we can use date formulas in our column headings. So let's have a look at one by month. It's going to be a monthly view. And I need to click on Edit Column Layout. So I'm going to want headings across the top for January to December. My financial year for this company runs from January to December. So I'll just add some rows in here. May and June. Oops. May and June. I'm going to stop at June. I could carry on all the way down to December. You don't want to sit and watch me typing. And we use a date formula in here. So to figure out what's January, it's my first month in my financial year. So I put in a simple formula, FY period 1. I'm going to copy this down into the other cells. And for February, it's period 2, so we just need to change that. Period 3, 4, 5, and 6. And again, we could go all the way down to December. We could put a total at the end if we gave each column a unique number to use in the formula. So let's make sure it's highlighted. And now we're seeing the same chart of accounts again, but this time it's split up by months for the financial year 2018 that I'm looking at. We could have put in formulas to see month-by-month growth, but I can track spending on a month-by-month basis. I can highlight all of this, copy from Excel and paste. On the newer versions, I've got the Export to Excel button. Once I put it in Excel, I can format it, make it look pretty, put in some formulas, turn it into a beautiful pie chart or something to include as part of my financial reports. Now we've looked at just copying straight from the chart of accounts. So I want to create a kind of sales report where I'm going to have rows for sales and then rows for cost of sales, and at the end work out a basic gross profit. So let's create a new one. Again, same formula, we give it a name, sales, we give it a description. And we'll choose a default column layout. We'll stick with net change. Remember, you can always change that. Net change. And let's go and have a look and edit this account schedule. And again, if I knew which accounts I want to use, I can put them in manually, or I can use the assist button. And this time I'm not going to select everything. I'm going to scroll down until I come to my sales accounts in the GL. That's that. A little bit further. Here we are. Here's my revenue accounts. I've got my sales and retail, raw materials, jobs, etc. I'm going to select these accounts. I'll choose the first one by clicking on it. And then I just hold down my mouse and drag down to select all the accounts that I want. Keep going, all my different types of sales are there. Now here are my cost of sales. I'll keep going down. And there's some variance accounts, we'll include those. And there's my total costs of sales. So I've got them highlighted, I say OK. I didn't have to select all of them, I could have just selected random accounts and put them in one by one. But here they are, it's brought them through with their formatting, and there's my total revenue. It's row number 6995, that's important. And my total costs is row number 7995. So let's put in that formula at the end to see what my sales less costs are. And again, this is a formula, so I have to change that. And it was row 6995. And I need to add to that 7995. Why am I adding instead of subtracting? Because this is a general ledger, so it's debits and credits. I add them together to get the total. And we'll see what effect that has now. We've got it highlighted, and let's go and have a look at the overview to see what it's done. So those are the accounts that I was interested in seeing. I've got my sales accounts. I've got my cost of sales accounts, and way down at the bottom, I'm looking at 2019, let's look at 2018. It's a much more interesting year. And right at the bottom, I've calculated that gross profit, which was the sales plus the cost of sales. But you will notice it's come through with a negative number. Now, an accountant knows that a negative number is actually good. That's showing a gross profit. If I gave that to a sales manager, he might not be impressed with the negative number. So let's go and change that. So let's show opposite sign function. I can go and change the sign on all of these accounts to make those negative numbers look positive. I'm just going to change the total as a demonstration. So I'll say flip the sign. I didn't have to change the formula at all. I'm just saying present it the opposite way around. And let's go and see what effect that has had. And once again, scrolling down to the bottom, whoops, 2019 again, scroll down to the bottom, and that negative 3.39 million has turned into a positive 3.39 million, and that's probably going to make my sales director a lot happier seeing that he's made a profit. That's a pretty simple basic sales report. We could have presented the information in a different order, but what I would like to do, because we have different areas within our system, I want to present this by area. Now, we created the department view, which was filtering by dimensions. Area is also a dimension. I've taken the liberty of already setting up a column layout. Let's just see what I did. So I've got my areas: Europe, North, EU and EU, South, North America, South America, and a simple total. And using that area dimension, I've pulled through the codes and I've put a formula in there to add up all of them. So let's make sure it's highlighted. And suddenly now I have a simple sales report with the same information it had before, but this time it's split up by area with the grand total. We can scroll down to this. We can see discounts that have been given by area. Very nice way of tracking performance. See all our costs for the different types of sales, and we can see they're all positive numbers. We know we've made profit. Not so fantastic in North Europe. And we can drill down on any of these numbers just by clicking on the ellipsis, and we can get the details of where these numbers came from if we need to do any further kind of analysis. As shown here, again, all the nitty-gritty of the individual accounts. Perhaps if I'm presenting this to a sales director, you would only want to see those summary accounts, and we do the same thing as we did with our chart of accounts, and we just exclude the posting accounts, and we would only show these combined totals. We could have changed the sign on all of these rows up here to show positive numbers, just to make our presentation a little bit neater. But basically, this is the power of account schedules. We've gone through, we've created a couple of different examples. We've added some different column layouts. We've seen how flexible they are. We've looked at them versus budget. We've put in by date. So that's pretty much all I have. Karen, have any questions come through?
Right, okay. So if you'd like to ask any questions about what you've seen, or if there's any questions about account schedules that we haven't covered yet, if you just want to use the question box and submit them, we'll just wait a minute or two and then we'll answer them.
Okay, so there's a question. What if I add a new account to my chart of accounts? Good question. If you're just using the begin and end totals in your chart of accounts and you're using defaults, you can add a new account and it will appear on your account schedules, or you can manually enter that new account on the line. You saw how easy it was to edit an account schedule. You don't have to rewrite them from scratch. You can just add that new account that you put in there. What's the benefit of using account schedules over a JET report? There's an interesting question. JET reports is a third-party product that you can use to get pretty much the same information that you're getting from your account schedules, but you'd be doing that in Excel. Nice thing about using account schedules is it's one source of information. If we're using JET reports and it's in Excel, people can fiddle with formulas. Not saying it's on purpose, but by mistake, they move the cell and forget to change the formula. On an account schedule, it's very fixed, and you could create a reporting pack, and at the end of every month, you report from your account schedules. Each department might use JET reports, but you've got some numbers to refer back to and say, you know, this is the Bible, these are the numbers that you should be reporting. Can you exclude a line with zero balance? Yep, that's pretty easy to do. That was one of the options when we were creating our account schedule, and there's a column to say show when, and you could say always show it when it's positive, show it when it's negative, or show it only when it's non-zero. So that makes it nice and neat. And then what are the benefits of account schedules over Excel? Well, again, that's very similar to the JET reports. So if you're a small company, you might just want to use your chart of accounts, filter for a date range, copy and paste into Excel, and do your reporting from there. And that's quite a valid thing to do. It is very nice if you've got an account schedule that does that, and you've got any formulas in there that you want to use. You can always make sure that those formulas are consistent. So, you know, somebody downloads it in Excel, they work out a net profit, but they use it based on markup, and someone else does it next time and they do it based on margin instead. They get slightly different percentages. If you've got an account schedule, you can say we'll always use this formula, so you're always consistent. I see there's quite a few more questions coming in. I don't really have time to answer everything, so I'm going to pass back to Karen. When I've finished, I'll go through those questions and I'll respond individually to each of you with an answer to your question.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much, Ian. So we'd like to leave you with the 5 kind of key takeaways about account schedules, which we hope will assist you with your analysis and reporting in NAV. So really, when you're kind of considering what type of reporting to use, you really do need to understand what your desired output is. So what do you actually want to report on? Do you have the right data in NAV? If you haven't set up your dimensions correctly, then your account schedules may not be accurate. So once you've done the first 2 steps, check if there's a template already created in account schedules, which will be sufficient for your requirements. And if you need to amend the template or create your own, do you have the knowledge and the time to actually dedicate to doing this? If you'd like to learn more about account schedules, or if you have a set of templates that you'd like to have set up for you, please feel free to contact us, because we can provide training or consulting services to create account schedules. Okay, so we hope you found this webinar interesting and informative. As mentioned previously, this is the 6th in a series of webinars. All our webinars are available on our website to actually download previous recordings. We will send out emails to register for the next one, and we also put reminders within our newsletters as well. So thank you for attending. Once I close this session, a survey will appear, and it'd be great if you could respond with some feedback. As Ian was saying, if there's any questions which we haven't answered, we'll respond back to you directly. Thank you very much.